I still remember that day like it's stuck on replay in my head. Yeah, one of those days you wish you could delete, but can't. It was his birthday. 28th. Yeah, big one. Or at least it was supposed to be. And there I was, standing outside my own house, holding a cake like some extra in someone else's life. Funny, right? I had baked that cake myself. Not store-bought, not rushed, real effort, real care, yeah, that kind. Chocolate, his favorite since he was a kid. I still remembered, even if he didn't care anymore. Candles? Yeah, 28 of them, sitting in the drawer, waiting, just like me. And under my arm, a gift. Not just any gift, something special. A watch. Old, classic, passed down from my father, and his father before that. You know, one of those things that actually means something. I thought, maybe this time, maybe he'd feel it. Yeah, I was wrong. I reached for the back door, slowly, didn't want to interrupt, didn't want to be that dad again. You know the one, the annoying one, the always there one. Yeah, that one. Then I heard voices. Laughter. His voice. Loud, confident, like he owned the world. And for a second, I smiled. Because no matter what, hearing your kid happy, yeah, it still hits. But then everything flipped. Man, your dad really went all out for this party. That's what one of his friends said. And I paused. Not because of the words, but because of what came next. Yeah, he's just trying to buy my affection. I froze. Like, completely froze. Cake in my hands, heart in my throat, brain just blank, trying to buy his affection. That's what I was to him. Just some desperate old guy throwing money around. I should have walked away right there. Yeah, I should have. But I didn't. Because some part of me, stupid part maybe, still wanted to hear something good. Something real. Something that said, nah, that's not true. But nah, that didn't happen. At least he cares. Another voice jumped in. And for a second, just a second, I thought maybe someone would defend me. But then, trust me, you're better off. That laugh. Man, that laugh. Cold. No warmth, no hesitation, just straight disrespect. He's always on my back, telling me what to do, like I'm still a kid. I could feel my grip tightening on that cake. Not because I was angry. Not yet. Because I was breaking. Yeah, that's the word. Breaking. Slow, quiet, invisible. Then he said it. The line that, yeah, it changed everything. Honestly, the best gift for me would be if he just disappeared from my life forever. I swear, it felt like someone punched straight through my chest. Like, physically. I actually stepped back, almost dropped the cake. 28 years. 28 years. Gone. Just like that. Reduced to that one sentence. Disappear from my life. Damn. And they laughed. That's the worst part. They laughed. Like it was funny. Like I was some joke. Standing there, outside my own house, listening to strangers laugh at my existence. Yeah, that hits different. Real different. I looked down at the gift in my hand. That watch. 3 generations. Meaning. History. Respect. And suddenly, it felt worthless. Like it didn't belong anymore. Like I didn't belong anymore. You could always move out. Some girl said from the table, not even looking up from her phone. And he goes. With what money? He controls everything. Controls. That word hit weird. Because I never saw it like that. I thought I was helping. Supporting. Being there. But to him, I was control. I was pressure. I was the problem. And then, the final blow. At least the free rent's decent. More laughter. Yeah. That one sealed it. Right there. Standing outside, holding a birthday cake for someone who wished I didn't exist. I realized something. This wasn't love anymore. This wasn't family. This was dependency mixed with disrespect. And I was funding it. Crazy, right? I stood there for a minute, maybe more. Didn't move. Didn't think. Just existed. Like background noise. Then something shifted. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet. Cold. Clear. Like a switch flipped inside my head. He wanted me gone. Fine. But not the way he thought. Oh no. Not like that. If I was gonna disappear, I'd do it properly. Yeah. I turned around. Walked back into the kitchen. Set the cake down. Didn't even look at it. Didn't light the candles. Didn't touch the gift. Because suddenly, none of that mattered anymore. Not the cake. Not the watch. Not the effort. Not even the memories. All of it. Felt. Done. I stood there. Hands on the counter. Breathing slow. Thinking. Calculating. For the first time in years. I wasn't reacting. I was deciding. And that's dangerous. Real dangerous. Because once you stop reacting and start deciding, everything changes. Yeah. Everything. I looked toward the backyard. Through the glass. There he was. Laughing. Drinking. Living like nothing mattered. Like I didn't matter. And that's when I said it. Not out loud. Just in my head. All right, you got your wish. And man, I meant it. I stayed in that kitchen for a few minutes, maybe 10, maybe less. Time felt weird, like it slowed down on purpose. My hands were still shaking a little. Yeah, not gonna lie. Not from fear. From realization. Big difference. Because once you see something clearly, you can't unsee it. And I had just seen my place in his life. Clear as day. Disposable. Replaceable. Convenient. That's all. I took a deep breath. Slow. Steady. Wiped my hands on a towel. Like I was about to do something normal. But nothing about what was coming was normal. I walked back toward the door. No cake this time. No gift. No smile. Just me. Raw. Done. And honestly, a little cold. I stepped outside. Same party. Same music. Same fake energy. But it felt different now. Like I was seeing it from outside my own life. You ever get that feeling? Like you don't belong in your own story anymore. Yeah, that. He was still there. By the grill. Bottle in his hand. Laughing like nothing happened. Like he didn't just, say what he said. I walked straight toward him. Didn't stop. Didn't hesitate. Didn't care who was watching. Hey. Just one word. But it cut through the noise. He turned. Looked at me like I was an interruption. Not a father. An interruption. Can we talk? Simple. Direct. Private. Or at least, that's what I offered. He smirked. Yeah, actually smirked. Nah, whatever you got to say it here. That right there. That told me everything. No respect. No awareness. Just ego. Big, loud, stupid ego. I nodded slowly. All right. You could feel it then. People around us started paying attention. Conversations slowed. Music still playing, but softer somehow. Like the moment knew what was about to happen. I looked him dead in the eyes. So, you meant it? He frowned. For what? Yeah, he was playing dumb. Or maybe, he really didn't think it mattered. That I should disappear from your life. There it was. Silence. Just for a second. Just enough for it to land. His friends looked at him. Then at me. Then back at him. And instead of backing down, instead of even pretending, he doubled down. Yeah, I meant it. No hesitation. No filter. Just straight disrespect. Again. You're always in my business, always controlling everything. Controlling. That word again. Man. That word was doing a lot of work for him. I give you a place to live. I said it calm. Too calm maybe. I pay for everything you use. Still calm. And that's control. He laughed. Actually laughed. Yeah, it is. Because you hold it over me. Hold it over him. I almost smiled. Not because it was funny. Because it was insane. You're 28. I said quietly. Exactly. He shot back. Which means I should be living my life, not yours. His boys jumped in right on cue. Facts. Let him live. Parents always think they own you. Yeah, the backup squad. Real brave when it's not their house. I looked around. At all of them. Eating my food. Drinking my drinks. Standing on my property. Judging me. Like I was the problem. That's when it hit me again. Not emotional this time. Logical. Cold. Clear. I wasn't dealing with a son. I was dealing with a mindset. One I helped create. And that was on me. Yeah. I owned that part. But what I did next? That was mine too. So, if I disappear. I said slowly. You're good. He shrugged. Took a sip of his drink. Yeah. I'll manage. That confidence. Man. That blind confidence. It almost impressed me. Almost. I nodded. All right. That's it. Just that. And I turned around. No yelling. No drama. No speech. Nothing. And that confused them. I could feel it. Because they expected a reaction. Anger. Begging. Something. But nah. They got nothing. And that's worse. Way worse. Because when someone stops reacting, that means they're done explaining. I walked straight to the DJ table. Picked up the MSC. Felt light in my hand. Like it was waiting for this moment. Music still playing. People still half confused. Half curious. I turned the volume down. Slowly. Until everything went quiet. Dead quiet. And then. I spoke. The party's over. Boom. You could feel that one. Like a shockwave. What? Someone said. Laughter. Nervous. Confused. I didn't repeat myself. I want everyone to leave. Now. No shouting. No emotion. Just. Final. He stepped forward. Annoyed. Embarrassed. Trying to take control again. Relax. Nobody's leaving. He turned to his friends. Stay. It's fine. I looked at him. Really looked. For the last time. Like a father. This isn't your house. Silence again. But I live here. He fired back. Because I allow it. There it was. Truth. Simple. Clean. Undeniable. And he didn't like that. Not one bit. You're being dramatic. One of his boys said. Yeah, always someone like that. I nodded. Maybe. Then I pulled out my phone. Didn't rush. Didn't hesitate. Just dialed. And put it to my ear. That's when it hit them. Oh, he's serious. Yeah. Dead serious. He stepped closer. Voice lower now. Less confident. Don't do this. First crack. Finally. You wanted me gone. I said quietly. I'm just starting the process. That line. Yeah. That one landed. Hard. You could see it in his face. That moment. When reality starts creeping in. And ego starts backing up. But it was too late. Way too late. I turned away. Walked back inside. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Because something had already changed. For good this time. And deep down. I knew. There was no coming back from this. Not for him. Not for me. Not for us. I stood in the kitchen. Phone still in my hand. You ever dial a number? And your finger just hovers for a second? Yeah, that moment. Where you know. Once you press it, there's no going back. That was me. Right there. And then. I pressed it. Just like that. Calm. No hesitation this time. Because the decision had already been made. The rest was just execution. I gave the address. Kept it simple. Unwanted guests. Refusing to leave private property. That's it. No drama. No emotions. Just facts. Because facts don't argue. Facts don't beg. Facts just hit. I hung up. Set the phone on the counter. And for the first time that night, I felt still. Not angry. Not hurt. Just still. Like everything inside me had settled. Outside, I could hear the noise shift. Voices louder now. Confused. Some laughing it off. Some starting to realize, nah, this is real. I walked back toward the door. Opened it. Stepped out again. This time, different energy. People were already packing up drinks. Looking at each other. That awkward vibe. You know, when a party dies but no one wants to admit it. Yeah, that. He was in the middle again. Trying to hold it together. Trying to act like he still had control. Relax, he's bluffing. He said it loud. For everyone to hear. But his eyes. Nah. His eyes weren't matching his words anymore. They were moving. Thinking. Calculating. Good. Let him feel it. For once. I didn't say anything. Just stood there. Watching. Because sometimes silence. That's the loudest thing in the room. One of the guests leaned over to another. Did he actually call? Whispers started spreading. Like a slow wave. And then, someone grabbed their jacket. Then another. And another. Yeah. Reality was creeping in. Fast. His crew stayed though. Of course they did. The loud ones always stay the longest. Thinking they're untouchable. Until they're not. You're seriously doing this. He walked up to me. Closer now. Lower voice. Not for the crowd anymore. This was personal again. You're embarrassing me. That word. Embarrassing. Out of everything happening. That's what mattered to him. Not what he said. Not what he did. Just how it looked. I nodded slowly. You did that yourself. And man. That hit him. I saw it. Quick flash. Then gone. Covered up with attitude again. You're crazy. Maybe. Maybe I was. But crazy doesn't build houses. Doesn't pay bills. Doesn't carry someone for 28 years. Nah. This wasn't crazy. This was overdue. Then. We heard it. Distant at first. That low hum. Growing louder. Closer. Closer. Sirens. And just like that, everything changed. You could literally feel it in the air. Like the party got slapped awake. People started moving fast now. No more whispers. No more jokes. Just action. Yo. I'm out. I'm not getting involved in this. Not worth it. Yeah. The smart ones. They dipped. Quick. Real quick. His boys though. Still standing there. Trying to act tough. Even as the sound got louder. Right outside. Lights flashed through the yard. Red. Blue. Red. Blue. Man. It lit the whole place up. Like a scene from a movie. But this wasn't a movie. This was real life catching up. The gate opened. 2 officers walked in. Calm. Professional. Not rushed. Because they didn't need to be. They already had control the second they stepped in. Who's the property owner? One of them asked. Clear voice. No nonsense. I stepped forward. I am. Simple. Clean. Done. They nodded. Looked around. Took in the scene. Half-empty party. Tension in the air. People frozen in place. What seems to be the issue? Private gathering. I asked everyone to leave. They refused. Again. Facts. Only facts. No emotion attached. Because emotion complicates things. Facts simplify them. The officer turned to the group. All right. Everyone needs to leave the property immediately. That was it. Official now. No more grey area. No more maybe he's bluffing. This was law. And law doesn't care about your birthday. Silence. Then movement. More people heading out. Quick. Heads down. Avoiding eye contact. Like they didn't even know him anymore. Funny how fast that changes. Real funny. He stepped forward again. Trying one last time. Officer, this is my house. Man. Even now. Still clinging to that. The officer looked at him. Calm. Measured. Do you own this property? No, but I live here. Do you pay rent? Silence. That silence said everything. Then you don't have authority here. Boom. Done. Case closed. His shoulders dropped just a little. Not much. But enough. You could see it. That confidence cracking. Finally. This is ridiculous. He muttered. But it didn't carry the same weight anymore. Because now he was just another guy, being told to leave. Not the center of the party. Not the one in control. Just a guest who overstayed. The officer looked around again. Anyone still here after this warning will be considered trespassing. And there it was. The word. Trespassing. Heavy. Real heavy. Because that's not just a word. That's consequences. Legal ones. The kind you can't laugh off. The kind that follow you. His friends started backing off. Even the loyal ones. Because loyalty has limits. And jail. Yeah, that's usually the limit. Now it was just him. Standing there. In the middle of what used to be his party. But wasn't anymore. Not even close. He looked at me. Different this time. Not cocky. Not amused. Not loud. Just lost. Confused. And a little scared. Yeah. There it was. The first real emotion of the night. Dad. He said it quieter. Almost like before. Like years ago. But nah. That version was gone. You're really doing this. I held his gaze. Didn't blink. Yeah. Just one word. But it carried everything. 28 years. All of it. Right there. And he knew it. That's why he didn't argue right away. That's why he just stood there. Processing. Because deep down. He knew. He pushed it too far. Way too far. But here's the thing. Some lines. Once you cross them, you don't get to walk back. You don't get a redo. You don't get am I bad. Nah. You get consequences. And tonight. They had just arrived. The yard was almost empty now. Plastic cups on the ground. Chairs pushed back. Music dead. You could still smell the barbecue in the air. But the vibe? Gone. Completely gone. Just tension left. Heavy. Thick. Uncomfortable. And in the middle of it. Him. Still standing there. Like he couldn't accept what was happening. Like his brain was lagging behind reality. Just leave. One of the officers said, calm, but firmer this time. Not a suggestion anymore. A direction. People around us were already slipping out through the gate. Heads down. Moving quick. Nobody wanted to be the last one there. Except him. Of course. Because pride. Yeah, pride makes people stupid. I'm not leaving. He said it low, but clear. There it was. The moment. The exact moment everything crossed the line. The officer stepped closer. Not aggressive. Just official. You need to leave the property now. I live here. Same line again. But weaker this time. Like even he didn't fully believe it anymore. You've been told by the owner to leave. Pause. Short. Sharp. Failure to comply can result in arrest. That word again. Arrest. It hung in the air like a warning sign flashing red. Anyone else? They would have walked. No questions. No ego. Just gone. But him. Nah. He doubled down. Always did. That's insane. You can't arrest me for being at my own house. The officer didn't react emotionally. Didn't argue. Just stated facts. It's not your house. Simple. Clean. Final. And you could see it hit him. Right there. Like reality finally punched through the denial. His eyes flicked to me. Looking for something. Support. Backup. A way out. But I didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't step in. Because this wasn't my mess to fix anymore. He made it. He owns it. Turn around. The officer said. Calm. Steady. Professional. And that's when it broke. For real. What? Are you serious right now? His voice cracked. Just a little. But enough. Enough to show the fear underneath. Turn around and place your hands behind your back. Same tone. No change. Because for them? This was routine. Another call. Another situation. Another person who thought rules didn't apply to them. But for him. This was new. Very new. And very real. He looked at me again. Desperate this time. Say something. That hit. Not gonna lie. It hit. Because for a split second, I saw the kid he used to be. The one who'd look at me when things got scary. The one who trusted me to fix it. But then, just as fast, I remembered the words. Disappear from my life. Yeah. Those words don't just vanish. They stick. They settle. They change things. I shook my head, slightly. Not angry. Not emotional. Just done. And that's when he knew. There was no saving this. No stepping in. No last-minute rescue. Nothing. Just consequences. Real ones. He hesitated. Body stiff. Breathing heavier now. Then slowly. Slowly. He turned around. Like his body was fighting it the whole way. Hands went behind his back. Reluctant. Tense. And then. Click. That sound. Man. That sound echoed. Louder than the music ever did. Louder than the laughter. Louder than everything. Because that wasn't just handcuffs. That was reality locking in. Final. Unavoidable. Done. You are under arrest for trespassing and failure to comply. The officer's voice was steady. Almost emotionless. Because to them, this was just procedure. But to him, this was the moment everything changed. Forever. What the hell? One of his friends shouted from near the gate. But notice something. He didn't step forward. Didn't intervene. Didn't do anything. Just shouted. Yeah. That's how it always goes. Loud when it's safe. Silent when it's real. She stood there too. The one who'd been laughing earlier. Now, not laughing anymore. Eyes wide. Phone still in her hand. Like she didn't know what to do without a screen to hide behind. This is crazy. She whispered. But she didn't move either. Nobody did. Because once it gets real, people back off. Fast. They walked him toward the gate. Slow. Controlled. He resisted just a little. Not enough to fight. Just enough to show he still couldn't accept it. This is your fault. He turned his head toward me. Voice sharp, angry, shaking. You did this. I held his gaze. Didn't flinch. No. I said quietly. You did. That one cut deep. Because it was true. And truth. Yeah, truth hurts the most. They guided him to the car. Lights still flashing. Red and blue bouncing off everything. Making it all feel surreal. Like it wasn't even happening. But it was. Door opened. He hesitated again. Last chance. Last moment. But nah. Too late. Way too late. They put him inside. Door shut. Thud. And just like that, it was done. The car pulled away. Slow at first. Then gone. Lights fading. Sound disappearing. Silence taking over again. Real silence. Not party silence. Not awkward silence. Just stillness. I stood there. Alone now. In my yard. My space. Finally. And for the first time in years. There was no noise. No tension. No waiting for the next argument. Nothing. Just me. And the truth. The party was over. But not just the party. Everything. The yard was empty. Completely empty. Just trash, chairs, and silence. I stood there for a while. Didn't move. Didn't rush inside. Just stood. Taking it in. Because moments like that, they don't come twice. It was the first time in years. No noise. No complaints. No tension hanging in the air. Just peace. Real peace. And yeah, it felt strange. Not gonna lie. Like something was missing. But at the same time, it felt right. Too right. I walked slowly across the patio. Stepped over empty bottles, paper plates, little reminders of what just happened. Or more like, what just ended. Because that wasn't just a party. That was a chapter closing. For good. I picked up one of the cups, crushed it in my hand, dropped it in the trash bag. Simple action. But it felt symbolic. Like I was cleaning up more than just a mess. I was cleaning up years. Years of excuses. Years of it'll get better. Years of letting things slide. Yeah. All of it. Gone now. I walked back inside, closed the door behind me, and the second it clicked shut, man, that silence hit different. Inside the house. It was even louder. You ever notice that? Silence inside a place that used to be noisy. It almost echoes. I stood in the kitchen, looked at the counter. The cake was still there, slightly melted, frosting uneven, candles untouched, waiting, just like before. But now, it looked pointless, completely pointless. I walked over, stared at it for a second, then just pushed it aside. Didn't throw it, didn't smash it, just moved it, like it didn't matter anymore. Because it didn't. Not to me. Not anymore. The gift was still there too. That watch. Carefully wrapped. Perfectly chosen. And now, completely meaningless. I picked it up. Held it in my hand. Felt the weight of it. Generations. Memories. Intentions. All of it sitting in that small box. And for a second. Yeah, just a second. I hesitated. Because part of me still wanted to believe. Maybe he didn't mean it. Maybe it was just talk. Maybe. But nah. I shut that down quick. Because reality had already shown itself. Clear. Loud. Unfiltered. I placed the gift back on the counter. Unopened. Unwanted. Done. Then I leaned back against the sink. Took a deep breath. And let it out slow. This wasn't about anger anymore. That part was gone. Burned out. What was left? Clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. The kind you don't get often. But when you do, you better use it. I walked toward the stairs. Each step quieter than usual. Like the house itself was settling. Adjusting. Understanding something had changed. Upstairs. Everything was exactly the same. His room, door half open. Lights still on. Mess everywhere. Clothes, shoes, random stuff. Like he just walked out. Which, technically, he did. I stood in the doorway. Looked around. And for the first time, I didn't see my son's room. I saw a problem. A situation. A pattern. And patterns. Yeah, they either repeat, or you break them. I stepped inside. Slow. Careful. Not emotional. Just observant. Desk cluttered. Empty cans. Unpaid bills shoved to the side. Stuff he never dealt with. Because he never had to. Because I always did. And that's when it clicked. Hard. This wasn't just his fault. Nah. Part of this was me. Yeah. I said it. Me. Because I allowed it. Enabled it. Covered for it. For years. Thinking I was helping. Thinking I was being a good father. But what I was really doing was removing consequences. And when you remove consequences, you create entitlement. Simple. Painfully simple. I nodded to myself. Like I finally understood something I should have seen a long time ago. No more. I said it out loud this time. Not loud. Just firm. No more. That wasn't anger. That was a decision. Big difference. I turned around. Walked out of the room. Didn't close the door. Didn't need to. Because I wasn't coming back to fix it. I went back downstairs. Grabbed my phone. Sat at the table. And just stared at it for a second. Because this next step? Yeah. This one mattered. A lot. This wasn't emotional anymore. This was strategic. Calculated. Final. I opened my contacts. Scrolled. Stopped. There it was. The number. I had saved it months ago. Just in case. Funny how just in case moments actually show up. I tapped it. Phone rang once. Twice. Then picked up. Hello. Calm voice. Professional. Yeah. I'd like to sell my house. Silence on the other end for a second. Then. All right, let's talk details. And just like that, it started. Not the argument. Not the conflict. Not the chaos. Something bigger. Something final. A move. The move. Because if I was going to disappear, like he wanted, I wasn't going to do it halfway. Nah. I was going all the way. Clean cut. No loose ends. No way back. I leaned back in the chair. Listening. Answering. Planning. And the more we talked, the clearer it became. This wasn't revenge. This was correction. Correction of years. Of mistakes. Of patterns. Of silence where there should have been boundaries. Yeah. This was me fixing what I should have fixed a long time ago. Just later than it should have been. But better late than never. Right. By the time the call ended, everything had shifted. Completely. The house. No longer permanent. The situation. No longer stuck. The future. Wide open. For the first time in a long time. I wasn't reacting to life. I was controlling it. And man, that feeling. Yeah, that feeling hit different. Real different. I looked around the kitchen one last time. The cake. The gift. The empty space. All of it telling a story that had finally reached its end. And I just nodded. To myself. To the moment. To the decision. It's done. The next few days? They moved fast. Real fast. Like everything was on a timer. Because in a way, it was. While he was sitting in a cell, learning what consequences feel like. I was out here. Fixing everything. One step at a time. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Just action. The house got listed. Cleaned. Photographed. Shown. Offers came in quick. Faster than I expected. Funny how something so valuable gets appreciated more by strangers than by the one living in it. Within days. It was done. Sold. Signed. Gone. Just like that. Years of memories. Packed into paperwork. Transferred to someone who actually wanted it. Actually respected it. Actually deserved it. And me. I packed light. Real light. Because when you finally let go, you realize how little you actually need. One suitcase. That's it. Everything else. Left behind. Just like the old version of me. Morning felt different. Quiet, but not empty. More like calm before something final. I checked the time. 9:00 a.m. That's when they released him. Right on schedule. I wasn't there. Didn't need to be. Because this part. He had to face alone. Just like I did. I stood across the street. Yeah. I went back. Not to interfere. Not to talk. Just to witness the ending. That's all. A taxi pulled up. He stepped out. Same walk. Same attitude. At least. At first. Then he looked at the house. And froze. You could literally see it. That moment when something feels off. Cars in the driveway. Not mine. Curtains. Different. Energy. Different. He stood there for a second. Trying to process it. Trying to make it make sense. But it didn't. Because reality doesn't ask for permission. It just shows up. He walked up to the door. Knocked. Confident still. Clinging to what he thought was his. The door opened. A woman stood there. Smiling. Polite. Can I help you? And just like that, confusion turned into tension. What are you doing in my house? That line. Man. Even now. Still calling it his. She didn't argue, didn't explain, just handed him the envelope. This was left for you. He opened it. Quick. Aggressive. Like he expected answers he could control. But nah. Not this time. His eyes moved across the page. Once. Twice. Then slower. Way slower. Because the words weren't changing. But the meaning was hitting harder each second. You said you wanted me to disappear from your life. I've granted your wish. The house is sold. You're on your own now. Short. Simple. Final. No anger. No explanation. No emotion. And that's what made it hit harder. Because there was nothing to argue with. Nothing to twist. Nothing to fight. Just truth. Cold, clean truth. He knocked again. Harder this time. This isn't funny. Where is he? But you could hear it now. That edge. That panic. That realization creeping in. The man stepped forward behind her. Calm. Steady. We bought this property yesterday. Boom. That was it. That was the moment. Everything collapsed. Not slowly. Not gently. All at once. Like a house of cards. He stepped back. Shook his head. No, no, he wouldn't. But deep down. Yeah. He knew. Exactly why I would. Phone came out. Call. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Again. Nothing. Silence. Same silence he gave me. Just, returned. Full circle. He stood there. In front of a house that wasn't his. Calling someone who wasn't answering. For the first time. No backup. No safety net. No father fixing things behind the scenes. Just him. And reality. Raw. Unfiltered. Unavoidable. He sat down. Right on the curb. Head in his hands. Still. Completely still. And that's when it hit. Not the anger. Not the ego. Not the attitude. The truth. The real truth. That everything he had was never guaranteed. It was given. And he threw it away. I watched. Just for a moment. Not long. Didn't need long. Because I wasn't looking for revenge. I wasn't waiting for him to break. I wasn't enjoying it. Nah. That part of me. Gone. This wasn't about hurting him. This was about ending something that was already broken. Completely. I took a deep breath. Turned around. And started walking. No drama. No final speech. No I told you so. Nothing. Because some lessons. They don't need words. They just need silence. And distance. Sometimes. You give everything to someone. And they still don't see your value. Yeah, it happens. But the real mistake is staying where you're not respected. That's the real loss. Not walking away. Walking away. That's power. Real power. And disappearing? Sometimes, it's not weakness. Sometimes, it's the only way to finally be free. The end.